talk about the ways that I dealt with my divorce and just, how I was able to cope with things living on my own as opposed to, before my husband and I separated. Obviously we were living together for a couple years, and divorce is really a hard thing, and I don't think that anybody goes through divorce and deals with it the exact same way, and what works for one person might not work for someone else just because of the way that everybody handles things differently, and you never know what would work for you that might not work for somebody else. For me, one of the really big main things that I needed to deal with was the fact that I was basically just on my own again after, being married to someone and constantly being with that person. When you live with someone and you're in that type of serious relationship, you get used to having that person around you and you get used to not being alone anymore. And then, once my husband asked for a divorce and we were separated and he moved out, it was like my whole world had been taken out from underneath me because I had become so dependent on him for my own happiness. And I think that's one of the problems that you see when you're in relationships, is that you tend to become dependent on that other person. And I don't know if that was done purposely. I wasn't financially dependent on him because I do have my own income, but at the same time, I was emotionally dependent on him, if that makes any sense. And for a really long time, it was hard for me to sleep. I had to have, the bathroom light on because I was kind of afraid to be there by myself. I had lived on my own, in my own apartment before he and I got married, but it's different when you've been married to someone for years and then that person is suddenly not there anymore, and you're just on your own. And I was in a state where I didn't really have very many friends in that state or in, the close proximity to me. And so it made things kind of more difficult because he had friends and I really didn't have friends around me. And so I think that kind of made things a little bit more difficult. But I think it was good for me to have friends that I could talk to, even if I couldn't spend time with them. I did have friends in other states or in other parts of the state that I was able to talk to and kind of work through my feelings, not only just by talking to them, but also by realizing that I can get through this and I can, be myself again, and I can get through this and just move on and make new and better choices in my life and be happy again. And I think that's one of the really main things to think about when you're going through a divorce. You can't blame yourself, and you can't, put the total blame on yourself, but you also can't put the total blame on the other person. Obviously, when it comes to divorce, there's two sides to every story, and I think once it gets to that point, like I said, it's not just a one-sided thing. There's usually things that are done on both sides of the table, that result in the divorce happening. And I think it's a good idea to remember that you're not the only reason why this is going on, and the other person isn't the only reason. Now, whoever may be at fault, it's important to not completely blame them and not completely blame yourself, like I said. Find ways to occupy your time, and don't jump right into dating again. Don't jump right back into trying to find someone to love. Spend time dealing with your feelings and emotions before you do that. Because one of my main things was I was afraid to be alone. After he and I separated, I was afraid to be alone. I'll admit it, I was afraid to be alone, and I was afraid to be single. And that's really scary when, especially, he and I had been married for, I believe it was a little over a year at the time that he asked me for a divorce, getting close to 2 years at that point, and it's never a positive experience when you're dealing with divorce. And even though you may try to make things as civil as possible, which in this case we did, it didn't end up that way. We had a lot of fighting back and forth, and honestly we still do fight, because my divorce is not finalized, unfortunately. And it's just one of those things where you have to take it day by day, and it's good to be surrounded by a strong support system. Like I've mentioned in a previous video, it's good to have a support system regardless of whether you're dealing with, a situation in your life or a medical condition, mental health, anything. It's good to have a strong support system that you can lean on and that you can depend on in times of stress or struggle, and just in general. To the person who requested this video, I hope that this kind of helps you a little bit. I'm not sure if I really answered your questions, and I'm not sure if you're actually going through a divorce or getting to the point where you're getting ready to go through a divorce or going through a separation or a breakup. I think one of the main things to remember when you're dealing with a breakup or a separation or divorce is that you need to be able to take time to make sure that you're okay, and you need to do things that make you happy and do things that make you feel like your life is fulfilled, and do things to kind of divert your attention away from the negative things that are going on in your life and focus them more on the positive side of things. And just always remember that it is okay to ask for help. If you're just super depressed and you need somebody to talk to, you need somebody to, cry on their shoulder, then, hopefully you have that support system, or, friends or family members that are around you that are able to be there for you when you need that. And if not, I'm always here. I've said that many times in my videos. I'm always here, and I'm always willing to listen and help out if I can in any way. So like I said, I hope that answered your question. If not, feel free to leave, any more questions you may have, or, comments in the comments section below. And if there are any other types of videos that you would like to see on my channel, any other topics that you would like me to talk about, any questions that you may have, feel free to let me know. I'm always willing to make videos that you guys would like to hear about or watch. And as always, until next time, stay beautiful and stay blessed.